Should you pay off your mortgage early or just invest any excess money you have in the market? Now, those aren't your only two options. There's actually a third unique solution to this problem that no one actually talks about. This third strategy gives you access to market returns while still being able to pay off your 30-year mortgage in almost half the time. Now, today we'll look under the hood and break down what your mortgage payments actually look like. If you think your 6% mortgage is actually 6%, well, you couldn't be more wrong. It's more like 500%. What I'm holding in my hand right now is an amortization schedule, and we'll look at it in more detail in this video. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Abhishek Gadre. I'm a practicing physician, and welcome to the Money Matters MD Show. So let's jump right in and talk about a case scenario of Tom, Jane, and Liz. This family purchases a house worth about $625,000, and they decide to put in 20% down, about $125,000, and they take a mortgage loan for $500,000. So let's break down how their mortgage payments actually look like. Tom and Jane get approved for a 6% 30-year fixed mortgage rate. Now, you can go to bankrate.com and use their amortization calculator to come up with what the payments will look like month to month. So for a 30-year mortgage, you can expect a total of 360 payments. Now, their monthly payment comes out at $2,988 a month, so almost $3,000. And it's basically made up of two components. It's principal and interest. Now, for the purpose of today's discussion, we'll completely exclude any property taxes and homeowners insurance from this conversation because that's not a part of the loan. Now, let's look at an amortization schedule, and you'll be shocked to see what 6% actually means. Now, you would think that a 6% interest on a $3,000 monthly payment would come out of somewhere around $180 a month. But that couldn't be far from true. If you actually look at the very first monthly payment, roughly around $500 is going towards principal, and $2,500 is going towards the interest. Now, if you do the math on that, that's not 6%, that's actually 500%. So I'm not lying to you. This is not clickbait. This is actual math from an actual amortization schedule. And you can just go ahead online and calculate your own amortization schedule for yourself and look at what actual percentage you're paying. So how does the bank actually come up with this monstrous interest payment? So you would take your principal, which is $500,000, and multiply it by 6% and divide it by 12. So that's $30,000 divided by 12, which is $2,500 of interest payment every single month. So you end up paying a whole bunch of interest front-loaded, and you barely pay any principal in the first several years at all. Now, if you look at what happens 10 years into this 30-year mortgage, you've only paid about 16% of the principal, and you're already 33% into the period of the loan. That's heavily disproportional. So it becomes really clear that you need to start paying off your principal up front to avoid these really heavy interest payments. Now, let's look at a few historic interest rates. Here's a Fred graph which shows you the trend of the 30-year mortgage rates over the last 50 years. So right now in 2026, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate is somewhere around 6%, and that's what I've assumed for the case scenario here. But if you go back to 2020 or 2021, the mortgage rates were as low as 2.6%. So a whole lot of people refinance their loans, or anyone who bought new homes were able to get a sub 3% loan, and instead of $3,000, that payment would look something more like $2,000 a month, and that's drastically different. Now, back in 2023, the interest rates actually peaked at 7.75%, and that payment would come out to be around $3,580 a month. Now, if high interest rates really bother you, if you look back 50 years, the recent interest rates are actually historic lows. The max interest rate that we've ever seen is around 18% back in 1981. And your monthly payment would have been somewhere around $7,600 every single month. And that's extremely high for a $500,000 loan. Now, let's go back to Tom and Jane's case scenario. So Tom took this 30-year fixed loan, and he's around 35 years old right now. And he would basically pay it off at age 65 and go ahead to retirement. Now, what if the family has $1,000 in excess every single month, and they decide to pay towards their mortgage? So this is scenario number one, and I call it the mortgage slayer approach. Now, if Tom and Jane decide to go the mortgage slayer approach, They basically paid off in about 16 and a half years in 197 payments instead of the 360 payments. At the end of the 16 and a half years, once the mortgage is completely gone, they'll start investing $3,988, which was their complete mortgage payment, the interest payment, and the excess $1,000 that they had every single month. And they would continue to invest until age 65, which is the 30-year period. Now, let's assume a 10% rate of growth in S&P 500 over the past 100 years. And let's assume a 20% capital gains rate. That gives us an after-tax rate of return of about 8%. So at 8%, the family would end up with around $1.1 million at the end of 30 years at age 65. Now, scenario one is pretty darn fantastic because Tom is able to pay off their 30-year mortgage in 16 years at age 51. And Jane is only 48 and Liz is just 21. Now, let's look at scenario number two. Let's say if Tom and Jane decide to just invest the $1,000 a month for a whole 30 years and not pay off the mortgage off at all. Again, assuming the 8% after tax return, they would end up at around $1.36 million and a paid off house at age 65 in 30 years. Now, clearly, in scenario number two, this is mathematically superior because the family ended up with $250,000 extra at the 30-year mark. But now there's something to be said about having a paid off home by age 51 instead of age 60. Maybe you would make a little bit of different life choices if your house is paid off by 51. Maybe Tom might decide to retire a bit early or cut back on the work or maybe travel more. Now, good news for you, there is actually a third hybrid approach which still gives you access to the market return while being able to pay off the mortgage in almost half the time. And that's the core strategy which I want to discuss with you in today's video. One quick little thing before we move on. A lot of you viewers are not my subscribers right now. If you like the quality of this video, please subscribe to my channel and like and share my videos so that the algorithm knows that I'm making high quality content and it can show it to other viewers just like you. Now, if you're listening to my podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give it a 5-star review. Now, I do have a few affiliate links with a few of my favorite book recommendations in the description down below. It does give the channel a small little commission at no extra cost to you. It does support the channel, and thank you for doing that. And just so you remember, this is not financial advice. This is just for educational and entertainment purposes only. Now, let's go back to scenario number 3, which is a hybrid approach. Now, in this hybrid approach, Tom and Jane decide to invest those $1,000 a month early on and actually take that market risk. Now, they decide to invest for a whole 15 years up till the point that they have enough to pay off the residual principal on that mortgage. So Tom and Jane accumulate $347,000 by the 15 and a half year mark by investing that $1,000 every single month at an 8% return. And they actually are able to pay off that entire principal of the mortgage at that 15 and a half year mark in one big chunk of payment. Now, that 8% after tax return already assumes that the capital gains have already been paid off. Now, the family starts investing $3,988 at the 15 and a half year mark for the next 14 and a half years until the entire 30-year period. At the end of the 30 years, by age 65, Tom has accumulated $1.25 million. And guess what? Tom was able to pay this mortgage off by age 50, and Jane was only 47 years old, and Liz was barely 20 years old. And the family enjoyed 15 years from age 50 all the way to age 65 of having no mortgage at all. Now, let's compare scenario number 1, where you ended up with $1.1 million, but with a paid off house at age 51 instead of age 65. Scenario number 2, where you end up with $1.36 million, but you were able to pay off your house by 65. And the scenario number 3, the hybrid approach, where you're able to accumulate $1.25 million by age 65, but again, you're able to pay off your house by age 50. Now, the mathematically superior approach is very clear here because, again, it all comes down to what the market return is after tax. Again, in this case, it was 8%, and the 30-year mortgage was about 6%. So 8% being bigger than 6%, the math will always favor the bigger number. But 80% of personal finance is actually behavior and only 20% is math. There's a ton of financial planning benefit and just, mental benefits of not having that burden of that extra mortgage payment for the end of the 15-year period. You would just make different behavioral choices, as I already talked about earlier. And again, let's say the market actually does well, more than 8%. And in the last 15 years, the market has actually returned closer to 15%. So you're actually able to participate using that hybrid approach in that market growth if the market truly does outperform. Now, I know we have talked a lot about monthly payments today, but how do you decide how much house can you really afford and what your monthly payment should really be? Now, this is a very important question, and I've addressed this very important question in a whole separate video. If you're interested, go check it out. I will leave a link in the description below. Now, at the end of the day, it all comes down to what your interest rate is versus what you expect to make in the market after paying taxes. Now, those lucky people who are able to secure a less than 3% loan back in 2020, 2021 period, the choice is very, very obvious. You're going to very easily make way more than 3% by investing in the market over an entire 30-year investing time horizon. Now, one important consideration is because the market has returned so incredibly well over the last 15 years, Vanguard just actually came out with a shocking prediction of about only 3% forecast for S&P 500 for the next 10 years. This is mostly because of the market overvaluation and AI bubble risk. And if you're interested, I made an entire separate video on this very topic. Now, let's go back to the assumption of about a 10% pre-tax return for the S&P 500. Now, there's a whole bunch of studies and evidence which suggest that the individual investors like you and me don't actually end up getting that 10%. Most individual investors lag all the way by 1 to 4% of the market average. So you might actually get somewhere between 6 to 9% realistically, owing to the behavioral mistakes that you might make by timing errors, or maybe the expense ratios that you might actually end up paying. Now, if your actual return is somewhere really between 6 and 9%, and your mortgage rate is somewhere between 6 and 7%, I would really favor just paying off your mortgage, because that's a sure shot, foolproof way of getting at least a 6% return over a very long investing time horizon. And again, given the extreme current market valuations and low expected future returns in the market over the next decade, I think a 6% or higher, I would truly favor trying to pay it off earlier. Or again, if you really want to participate in the market returns, you could try the scenario 3 or that hybrid approach that I'm talking about. So comment down below what your 30-year fixed interest rate is right now and what strategy are you applying. Hope this was helpful. If you learned something useful today, please subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. Thank you for watching. Money Matters MD, over and out.